Hey everybody, for those of you who do not know me very well, I love to travel and I'm really excited to announce that I'm going to be traveling for 3 weeks across the United States by train and bus and car and foot. This is something that might not seem that shocking or intense for the average person, but for some people it might be pretty shocking given that there's fires, there's floods, there's hurricanes, and there's COVID. So this trip was actually developed by myself with some idea sharing amongst friends. Gosh, 6 months or so ago. It really was a trip that I had never really even thought of, but then realized I had a bunch of time as someone that works at a college and has a few weeks off for a break. And with all of the limitations in global travel, it just seemed to make sense that this could be potentially an affordable trip. So how is it actually going to work? I'm going to be traveling by Amtrak from Seattle to Portland, Maine, and then I'm going to be flying back from Boston. So I'm not actually going direct, of course. I'll be taking the train down from Seattle to San Francisco or Emeryville Station. Be spending a day in San Francisco. Then I will be heading from San Francisco to LA, where I'll be spending a few days with friends. Then I will be taking the train a long way, the longest segment, if you will, if Amtrak does, if Amtrak says so, from LA to San Antonio, where I'll be spending another day. From there, I'm going to be taking the train to Little Rock, spending just a day in Arkansas. I call it a preview trip for future travel planning. I'll be in Little Rock and Hot Springs and hopefully a hike in the Ozarks over the course of a day. And then I'm going to take a very late overnight bus through Memphis to Birmingham, Alabama. I wish I could have taken a train from Little Rock to Birmingham, but to do so would have involved going back down through Texas to New Orleans or up to Chicago and then back down. So a lot of back or up or down or out of the way stuff and really not very direct sense. So instead, I'm taking the bus. Once I get to Birmingham, I'll be convening with my partner and we'll be spending some time in Alabama together. Again, hopefully with the wildness of the COVID outbreaks as a tangential or peripheral aspect to the trip. Then we're going to be connecting with my sister and her family who are going to be driving over from Atlanta, Georgia. We'll be heading back to Atlanta with them, spending a little bit of time there. And then I'll be taking the train up to Boston by way of DC and South Carolina, not in that order. And then getting to Boston, getting up to Maine for just a day, my homeland, and then back down to Boston, where I fly via Salt Lake City to Seattle. So it's not a very clean trip. It's not a very robust trip in the sense that it's just a U. I was hoping that there would be more time to make it the full circle, but my interest in hanging out with people I know and exploring places I've never been kind of took precedence over the other aspects within planning a trip. So for the most part, I'll be on a train. I will be hanging out on that train, reading on the train, trying to sleep on the train. The number one question people ask me when I tell them I'm going to be traveling this far is, am I taking a sleeping or a sleeper car? And the answer is no, because those are very expensive. But instead of doing that, I am going to be finding creative ways to get rest, including really leaning into the people that I'm staying with for proper back support and that sort of thing. I've heard some creative ways can be had in terms of sleeping on overnight Amtrak trains. I really I have no idea what to expect. I've only been on an Amtrak train once or twice in my life, from what I can remember, and both times were fairly short trips. One was up the Hudson in New York, and one was down from Portland, Maine to Boston, which is another leg that I'm doing. So I really don't know what to expect, you know. I know there's a dining car that's a fabled addition to the Amtrak journey. I've heard of people sleeping in the dining car when it's completely shut. I know that there are different types of cars. There are recently upgraded cars. I'm hoping I get to experience some of those. I know that some areas are more frequently traveled than others. I imagine the Seattle to Portland leg will be very, very busy, and I imagine the SF to LA leg will be very, very busy. And I'm hoping that it is the opposite for some of the other sections. But who knows at this point? I will be staying, as I mentioned, with friends and family. I also will be couch surfing. Hopefully it will work out and I'll be able to couch surf in San Antonio and Greensboro, South Carolina. And other than that, there are a couple times where I might need to be creative in where I stay, where I sleep, or spend most of my time, including possibly inside Boston's train station. So we'll see. But for now, I'm in the mode of packing. As of this video, I have about 3 days and change before the train actually departs. I have prepared by starting the packing process, as well as mailing 4 packages of books to 4 different people I'm staying with on this journey. And my goal is to pick up books and also send books back to my home as I complete them. So we'll see how well that works. As I mentioned, I'm a little bit nervous about the disasters of the landscapes that I'm going across. The fires in Northern California are moving quickly, and I was told a couple weeks ago that part of the line was shut to the train and passengers had to be bused to Emeryville Station. So we'll see about that. I also am just generally concerned about hurricanes, given how fast they seem to come up and how devastating a few of them have been already this season, including one last week that hit New England relatively hard. So all of that is to say, part of me is just hoping for the best, and I'm not sure what's going to come out of it. I also have not done a lot of work in terms of contingency and in terms of planning should something fail, like if there is a delay or something that causes me to miss or derail, so to speak, my itinerary. If that happens, I really am not sure what's going to happen. All I know is that I do need to get to that flight at the very last day, which is when I fly back to Seattle, because I'll be working immediately the day after, which is pretty intense. But if you know me, you know that's kind of my prerogative or program. This isn't a very conceptual trip in nature. It's mostly exploratory. I hope to capture a lot of what I see on video. I also don't have a specific budget requirement. I'm not backpacking on $2 a day or those other classic constraints that you may have heard about. So it really is up in the air, and it's more designed to be immersive and allow me to just enjoy time over 3 weeks. And if the artist in me has anything to say, it's that I just want to document as much as possible, try to be open to new experiences, as I usually am when I travel, and find solace and comfort in this extended period of time on the train, on the road, which is something that I don't think I've done in more than 5 years. The last time that I did a long road trip in a car was when I drove from Maine to Seattle by way of Texas and New Mexico. And so that was also a very similar, not a U, maybe more of a V shape, geographic outline of my route. But this will be fairly unique in its own experience. I'm also hoping to comment on just what is happening in train travel. In addition to having to wear a mask on a train, which is something that is interesting to ponder. How many hours in a row can one wear a mask without losing their mind? I'm curious about the types of people that are on trains these days, the type of people that value them, the type of people that prefer them to much faster transit, such as cars and planes. So I will also include some information on packing and a little bit of how that's going to happen, or how that is happening, and what I'm taking, what I'm bringing on this trip. And then otherwise, that will be the end of this planning video. My goal is to, at the very end, assuming my camera doesn't get stolen, my SD cards don't get corrupted, I don't get burnt to a crisp or drown, I am intending to post a collage of the video footage that I have taken on this trip. And that's it. That's pretty much this trip. But it is my first travel log, if you will. And so if you are watching this, thank you for being patient. Thank you for your consideration and your thoughts. And of course, if you have any questions about trips like this, feel free to let me know. All right, so here we have basically the top layer of my traveling items. I've never really packed for a domestic trip, meaning US trip, in a way that was designed for several weeks at a time. So I have a feeling that some of this stuff is going to be tweaked and added to, obviously, or modified in some way over the next few days. I am, 3 days away from departure, so there is time to do some moving. But I'm going to go through all of the things that are listed here. I should start off by saying that, I'm going to be carrying 2 bags, and the Daypack bag that I'm carrying on this trip is actually this awesome low pro camera bag. It can hold a lot of stuff, believe it or not. And I know the angle might not be perfect right now for this, but it can hold pretty much, in addition to a camera, a water bottle, a bunch of clothes. I'll be able to fit my toiletry bag and technology all in this bag. And that includes everything that you're seeing here. So I'll go through it. First and foremost, I actually have this bottle of ibuprofen, which should probably be in this toiletry bag here. But that will be the big thing, and I'll break that down in another section. Then we've got this kind of old camera cleaning kit. It's old. The packaging is really bad. It was just one that I got off Amazon pretty cheaply. I've used it a lot since I bought it a couple years ago, but I want to maybe have this be the last trip that I use it on, so I'm using it regularly. So that's going in there. I was going to save this for last, but this is a giant bag of energy trail mix. So I'm going to be on this train and bumbling around random places, and this probably won't last me more than a few days, but it'll at least be a good fallback should I not be interested in spending a lot of money on the train itself or any of the destinations I have, or just needing some kind of high protein, high sugar snack. Headphones. So I actually was thinking about headphones quite a bit. I haven't used these Bose noise canceling headphones in a while, but these are kind of my go-to. These have been my go-to during past trips, especially traveling on long plane rides, like across the oceans, because they're just comfortable and noise canceling. They don't create any earaches, and they can just wrap around my head, which is awesome. It's easy to wear. That being said, when I'm out and about traveling and in the different towns, I intend to use these earbuds. So these are the Tozo N or T12. Yeah, I think these are the T12s. No, these are the N something. I don't remember which ones these are. But anyway, these do not belong to this box. This is a separate box for a different type of um, earbud. But you get the gist. One of the reasons why I am including this box in this video is because there are backup buds, the I don't know what they're called, the plastic things, that I intend to carry along with me just in case those ones get lost, which actually just happened on the last trip I was at. One fell out and then I never found it again. Extra lens cap. I've been on trips where I've lost a lens cap and then have essentially had to protect my expensive camera and lens with no backup, and I don't want to have to do that. And it's such a lightweight device, so it's not a big deal. Extra SD card. I figure I will be. Is it gonna zoom? There we go. Figure I'll be doing a lot of video. It's all HD video or 4K video, so it's gonna take up a lot of space. Gotta have one of those. On that note, extra camera, battery, and then kind of to wrap up technology, I've loved this 4-port charger here. I've had this for years, and it still serves as a rapid charging device, whatever the voltage is on there. So I'm going to bring a couple USB-Cs, and then the Bose headphones, unfortunately, use the old USB model. So that's annoying, but I have space and have weight, so I can keep that. One thing that I thought of just a couple days ago is why continue to buy disposable cups on this trip? And I could just imagine going through cup after cup after cup for coffee. So one thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to pack this mug, which is relatively lightweight because of the cork base, and it contains this nice little lid here. It's from my alma mater, and it's also durable. So it might be one of the more heavier things I'm packing and bringing, and might be a little bit ridiculous for quote-unquote backpacking, but why not? Worst thing I do with it is give it to somebody, and then they have a new mug that's quite high quality. On that note, I didn't position them, but I do have tea bags that I'm going to carry along and save some money that way. I've got this nice, recently acquired Target portable umbrella. I imagine I might encounter some rain on this trip, so that's cool. And then extra bag for something. And then masks. Yeah, so I have a ton of masks in my life these days, but I just got a really cheap, actually free 3-pack from Eddie Bauer of the masks with the nice little bands. This isn't a video about masks, but the idea is to never have to worry about masks and also never have to worry about clean masks. Now, one thing that I've been pondering is what is it going to be like on Amtrak over the course of 3 weeks when a mask is required? And hopefully I will not have to deal with gross old masks in that sense. We're getting towards the end here. Reading material, so flags for notes and whatnot. I'm starting off with 4 books. I got Shinny Pai's new book of poetry, Virga, which is exciting. And my friend and collaborator, Thomas Walton, Good Morning, Bone Crusher. That's his new one, poetry. And then the second book in the N.K. Jemisin Broken Earth trilogy, The Obelisk Gate, which I've been holding off on until this trip, actually, for months. And Solitude is another one for the first leg, which is exciting. I got this a couple years ago in alignment with my friend's birthday when we were planning on no longer living together. It was a good kind of existential going away gift. And yeah, I've held on to this one and haven't yet read it. So this will be a good time to do that. I have mailed books to the folks that I am meeting up with across the journey, and will be simultaneously mailing these back, which reminds me a couple things that are not included here is a roll of tape and a Sharpie for sending packages back. But I did get some pre-written return labels here that I'm not going to show to prevent my address from leaking. And this, of course, is the USA Rail Pass and the itinerary, which I'm also not going to show for privacy. And then finally, a Rhodia notebook. This is kind of like moleskin, similar concept, similar durability and comfort. I've been writing notes and logs and stuff in there for a while now. Well, not too long, as you can see, but looking forward to using it on this trip. So that is everything that is going in the bag. The bag, again, being just this little old camera bag. And I'm going to fill that up and then probably show another video. All right, so I managed to throw a bunch of tea into this bag here. A blend of well-rested tea from Trader Joe's, Love Organic from Puka, and then some awesome Bigelow black tea. So hopefully that'll blend the stimulation and non, the caffeine and the caffeine-free, and I'll be able to rock and roll that way. And then as you can see, I've also prepared a Nalgene. So hopefully one Nalgene will be enough. I, of course, can always get additional beverages along the way. So now let's pack it all up. Let's check to make sure there's nothing in these pockets already. I'm noticing, oh nice, some hand sanitizer from flights during COVID, which I've collected. I usually only end up using one, and I usually request more than one. Got a Sharpie and some pens, backup pens. It's nice. But otherwise, I think this is an empty bag. Oh, GoPro battery. Don't need that. I'm taking the GoPro this time. And here's another cleaning kit that I will be leaving behind. All right, now it's time to load up. So, there are the books on the top, books and notebooks. Really, it's a matter of adjustment and finagling more than anything. Some things just won't stay in the place they need to, but there will be a place for everything, I imagine. And if not, I don't know what we'll do. We'll have to figure something out. The biggest thing I'm seeing might be an issue is this bag here. But it actually looks like it might fit. At least at first. We'll see. And I've got also this laptop pouch here that might work out well. Okay. Things are a bit tight. I might have to resort to keeping some of the books either in the laptop pouch or all of them exclusively in the laptop pouch, or throw them into the larger bag that I'm carrying, which will be where the clothing is going. Or I could throw the toiletry bag in that bag. The problem is I don't really know if Amtrak requires checking the toiletry bags, I'm sorry, the larger bag when traveling. And if that's the case, if that larger bag needs to be checked, that's not going to work out very well for me. But it is such a small bag overall that it's probably not going to be a big issue. But, I mean, who's to say at this point? Got to be ready for anything, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Once I get all of this in and prove to myself that it's possible, then and only then will I feel comfortable about making optimizations with what I already am planning on choosing. Otherwise, I'm going to need to have another plan here. This is a big case for this, though. That's what I'm noticing here. The headphones case is quite large. It could fit in here. That's what I'm seeing. That's what I'm feeling at the moment. The other thing is, where's the camera gonna go? Now things are getting a little complex. This bag has done wonders in the past, and I can only imagine it doing wonders right now. I'm not bringing a tripod, which saves a lot of space for me. Okay. If I do manage to keep my water bottle out most of the time, it looks like this might actually work without any major issues. The one thing that I'm curious about, of course, and then there's this side pocket for water bottles. So that's where the water bottle can go. And then we've got everything. Don't need to bring that. And that'll fit in the other bag. And we are good to go. So, alright, so I managed to actually get everything I needed with the one exception of the camera, which I think will fit right in there, into this bag. So this will be my day bag. And it's going to be interesting because it's pretty heavy. It's heavy for a day bag. There's not much room. So if I get something like, I don't know, a trinket or a tchotchke or some kind of tourist item from someplace, where am I going to put it? Definitely not in this bag. The one thing I will say is that one of the largest pieces of the puzzle that I need to figure out is the Toiletries Bag. As it stands, it's currently in this bottom part here, this pouch here that is typically one of the sections that's used in this type of bag for a camera. But I haven't actually needed to put a camera down there because my camera is small enough to go up here. So the Toiletries Bag is in here. Does it need to be, though? That's the question. And I won't know that until I'm actually on the Amtrak. I've heard that some Amtrak's cars are not allowing any checked baggage. All baggage has to stay with the person that is on the train, which is what I'm hoping for the whole trip. But that being said, what if they require checking it? Then I have an extra toiletries bag to work with, or I need to pull out specific items from the bag and somehow stuff into here. So either way, whether or not the toiletries bag is going in here or not, that's to be determined. I guess if it's not in there, that opens up way more room for things like food, again, snacks, or other types of items that might pop up here and there. But I'm feeling pretty confident about this bag at this time. I think it's a good choice. When I'm staying with folks or staying at the hostel or other accommodations, I can dump some things really quickly, some of the larger items, and use it as an actual day pack where I can walk around, hike around, and not have to worry about what's inside. But we're not there yet. I have no idea how it's going to run. I'm feeling pretty good about it, though, at this point. So that's this bag. Next, I'm going to show you the toiletries bag and show you what I've got going on inside that. One minor adjustment, I actually found the earbud holder that I was talking about in an earlier section of this video, and I'm just going to carry this instead of the box for the earbuds because there's no need to take up that much space. Even though that box, that little earbud box is quite lightweight, It takes up a lot of space for what it's actually doing, so I'm just going to stick with this little tray. Quite cool, and we'll go from there. All right, so now I'm going to show this amazing toiletries bag, the Gear Nomad aquamarine colored bag. This is what I'm going to be using, hopefully successfully, to store all my stuff alongside my person. It has a nice hanging feature. This is not an Amazon review for this bag, but it has served me well. It's got a sealable section. It's got another open air sealable section, which is good for things that collect water. And then inside the big pouch, it's got a lot of space too. So I'm not going to actually demonstrate holding everything in the bag, but I will say this is what's going to contain the vast majority of my small things. So the first couple things I wanted to highlight are these little friends. These contain amazing and powerful lotions that I like to use before and after I wake up. I should say before and after I go to sleep or wake up. I guess it's either or. Well, I'm not putting them on when I'm sleeping, so yeah, before bed and after I wake up. I'm just gonna go randomly through all this stuff since it's all scattered and I didn't have time to throw it into neat little piles. While we're along the lines of personal care and hygiene, got deodorant. I've got a travel bottle that I need to fill up actually of Head and Shoulders shampoo. Not sure how much I'll need to use that, but you never know. As I am a glasses wearing person, I'm going to be bringing glasses cleaner and a couple wipes for that. Now, one thing that I have noticed since I've started taking vitamins over the last few years is that my nails grow really fast. So a nail clipper. Hopefully I'll be able to, bring this everywhere. I'm not sure if it's allowed on airplanes, but who knows? We'll see. Easily replaceable, I guess. Chapstick, pretty key there, especially in the desert, the dry areas. This is probably one of the most ridiculous things in the whole bag, and I just bought this today, but it's this Moon Valley herbal body wash made with organic calendula. Haven't actually used this before, so hopefully I'm not allergic to anything in it. But this is going to be my soap for the whole trip. I still need to acquire, I'm waiting on it to arrive, some travel shaving cream, and I'll be packing some disposable razors to go with that. I also am going to be including my electric toothbrush, actually, my chargeable one. I'm going to charge it ahead of time and hope to God that it stays charged the whole time. That way I can leave this toothbrush, which I usually only use during camping, here. Let's see, what else do I have in this bag of fun items? Got eye shades. This can come in really handy, of course. Save the pills for last. I've got a couple pairs of, or one pair, a couple socks, but these are really good for sleeping because they're really light on the elastic and don't affect the sensitivity of my ankles and calves as bad. They're also just kind of lightweight for walking on surfaces. Like I could imagine just walking around on the train, but without necessarily putting my shoes on for some reason. That image comes to mind. All right, so this fun thing is the gummies that we bought, marijuana gummies from a recent trip, and these are CBG. So you can Google that if you want to learn more about that. But hoping to utilize this before leaving Washington. We'll see what happens. I might forget that I had it in my bag and have to use it later. I've got a bunch of fun-filled prescriptions, and I'm hoping to condense these into just a couple bottles to save on a little bit of weight. Got the ibuprofen that I showed earlier. Not to go into the weeds with these, but I've got a bunch of Band-Aids and creams and stomach medicine, Kleenex, and even though there's only two, and I might need to buy additional ones, I've got disposable earbuds. That being said, I have successfully slept with the electronic earbuds in the past, since they are noise canceling, as well as the Bose. Though I'm not sure how healthy it is to just have noise canceling sound on all night long. And then always nice to use this in an emergency, but a eyeglasses screwdriver, and I'm assuming that could be utilized, with these glasses if need be. Oh, and now I'm remembering sunglasses. I need to pack my sunglasses. There's bound to be other things that pop up here and there, but that's what we've got so far.